I went to Vidcon. That's it. That's my intro. Hi, I'm Amanda and you're watching Swell Entertainment. I couldn't think of an opening. That's all you get. I went to Vidcon with a creator badge, had a lot of fun, I learned a lot of stuff, I met a lot of great people, met some not great people, and got some tea. It was great. Last year I went to a different convention. That's all I'm gonna say on that. I wasn't sure what I was originally gonna do for this video, if I was just gonna review the whole event or if I was just gonna review the creator badge, but I decided while I was at Vidcon to just review the creator badge because this is kind of an investment and I'm sure you wanna know if it's worth it. I went to Vidcon 2 years ago with a community badge and I was bored out of my mind. I was not posting on YouTube at the time and so I didn't get a creator badge. Also, I was chaperoning my brother and he had a community badge. Because of that, I was probably going to try and swing for a creator badge regardless of whether I had this channel or not, just to see if it changed my experience with VidCon as a whole. Basically, I'm making this video to talk about some of the pros and cons of a creator badge at VidCon and some of my experiences with such. A creator badge at VidCon is going to set you back $200. There is no criteria for getting a creator badge to VidCon. I didn't have to put in my social media. I didn't have to try and put in any of my follower count. Nothing. There was no criteria. I had $200 and they were like, what platforms do you like using? I clicked off a couple boxes and that was that. I had my creator badge. The only criteria I saw was that if you were a minor of a certain age, you had to also have a chaperone go with you and buy a separate ticket, which I think was a discounted price. That was standard for the whole convention. So your badge will get mailed to you early before the event alongside this nifty / annoying RFID wristband thing. I cut mine off. I will both praise and complain about this thing later on in this video. One of the bonuses to getting a creator badge is that you don't have to wait in line of registration because again, they mail you your stuff in advance. Apparently the mailing was an issue because they didn't really make it super clear that they were going to be mailing the badges, at least in my experience. Some people that I did speak to at this event, they're friends who make content where they live in their van. They didn't know that their badges were going to mail to them, so they had to buy a replacement badge at the event. As a creator, you are able to have access to the creator only floor, which was the top floor of the event. That floor was also accessible to speakers, invited guests, full access, industry passes, and featured creator badges. Side note, if you had a full access or an invited guest badge, please reach out to me and tell me how your experiences were different. It seems like they both had access to the same areas and that maybe it was just a title thing, unless there was like a party or something that the invited guests got to go to and then full access didn't. I don't know. Let me know. I want to know. I'm curious. I want to learn. Again, a creator badge is $200. You will still have to pay for parking and obviously for food each day. And again, depending on where you're coming from, hotel accommodations and all that. My recommendation for this whole event is if you want to save money, stay away from the food trucks. They are overpriced in my cheap opinion. At the end of the day, the worth of being a creator at VidCon truly comes down to what you want from your VidCon experience. As I already said, there were no criteria for getting a creator badge. So there was a lot of different types of people on the creator floor. There were people like me who had small channels, people who were just trying to start out their channels, people who had a decent sized following, and I was actually surprised that they were not given any type of other badge and they had to pay for their own creator badge, it seemed like. And there were also people who didn't have channels, didn't have YouTube, some were chaperones, and some just didn't make content whatsoever and then just admired some other creators. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just something to consider. If you think you're going to go to the creator floor and only be surrounded by people who also make videos or also do TikToks or also do X, Y, and Z, that's not going to be the case because there's a lot of different types of people that get creator badges. I saw so many creators at this event and people that I admire who have bigger followings, whether they were full access, invited guests, or buying their own creator badges. I didn't interact with a lot of them, aside from one person, and I use the term interaction loosely. It was awkward, so I didn't try to talk to other people. Hey, D. Burback, you're not going to see this, but if you do, sorry I said, hey, I like your videos, and then booked it like a weirdo. I don't have an excuse for that. I spent most of VidCon with Lissa. She has a channel here on YouTube. I interviewed her for my TanaCon video. Her and I have become pretty good friends. Everyone that we met / recognized while we were at VidCon, we met predominantly on the community access floors, so on the main expo hall floor, outside, or on the second floor, which again was open to all levels. I'll link Lissa's blog down below. She put a list of some of the creators that we saw at VidCon, and it is a small list, but she also put me in there, which I thought was very nice. If your goal going to VidCon is to meet people that you admire or that you're fans of, paying for a creator badge may not be worth it. Most of the creators that I admired and I recognized and I saw were not on the creator floor. The creator floor also has a creator lounge. Now, this is something I had heard about and something that was brought up a couple of times. I would even get notifications this morning like the creator lounge is now open. It was just a dark room with some purple lights and some places to sit. That's it. There was no music. There was nothing. A couple people started playing music here and there. But for the most part, because it was so quiet in the room, most people were talking very quietly. More than anything, the creator lounge was like a good place to nap or rest if you needed it. From what I understand from other people that have attended VidCon as creators in the past it has been sponsored. So it was better in the past because other companies were in charge of making sure that certain things were applied to the room. Again, I haven't been a creator at VidCon before. However, multiple people commented on that to me when I asked them about it, so I'm accepting it as fact. On the creator floor, there were a couple of company booths set up. If you have community, you're not going to have access to these booths. One of these booths in particular was vidIQ. I use vidIQ on YouTube, talked a lot to these people. Side note, this is going to be another point later on in this video, but you want to get something out of an experience, I highly recommend talking to all the vendors and all the different exhibitors at a convention or an event. Maybe you can't talk to all of them, but talk to as many as you can, ask questions, see what they're about. It's just a good practice to get yourself into, I feel, at least in my experience. Also, if you're nice about it, they sometimes give you tea, but I'll get there. One of these companies, again, was vidIQ. They were offering free channel audits, and which was great, honestly, because the guy straight up asked me, am I gonna hurt your feelings? And I said, no, roast my channel. And he just wrecked my perfect. That's what I want. I want blatant honesty when it comes to certain things. He didn't just say your thumbnails are bad. He explained why they were bad, which I really liked. And I'm not trying to like kiss vidIQ's ass, even though I know it sounds like it. I just genuinely got a lot out of that experience. But that's something that I wouldn't have had access to had I gotten a community badge. And if I apply their changes to my channel and it pays off for me, that alone is kind of worth it. You also get access to creator-only panels, and I sat in on a couple of these. I would have sat in on more, except the ones that I really wanted to go see filled up immediately. Because again, there's no criteria, and I don't even think they cap the number of people that are able to be creators. So it does still get pretty crowded on the creator floor. My tip for the creator panels, line up early. And some of the panels that I went to, I learned a lot from. Some of them I didn't. Some of them I walked out halfway through. And that's just kind of how all panels go. You're not going to get something great from every panel that you go to. Something else that I really liked about the creator track at VidCon was the networking sessions that they had available. Something that Lissa and I did, which was Lissa's idea. Lissa was like, hey, there's a travel vlogging networking thing happening. I want to go to it. I don't really do travel vlogging on this channel, but I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll go and I'll see what these people do, whatever. I really didn't expect to get anything out of that situation because it's just, again, not my content. But I ended up meeting so many cool people at that event alone, and we're now all in like an Instagram group and we're all plugging each other's It's great. And I'm so glad that I went to that networking thing because I met a lot of really cool people who had a lot of different ways of making different types of content. Not even just for travel, but just in general. So for the creator badge as a whole, the people that you meet, and I'm not just talking about like big name people that you want to collab with or whatever, just making connections and making friends within other creators that have similar goals to you of working on their channel and making content, even if it's not the same type of content that you produce, I think is fully worth it for paying the extra money. At least in my experience, I met some amazing people. Again, as I mentioned originally, I also met some very weird people and not so great people, but I don't want that to negate the fact that I met some really great people at this event. Something that Lissa got to do that I didn't do because one, I didn't know about it, and two, I'm bad at lotteries, so if I had heard about it, I probably wouldn't have even attempted to achieve it. She got to do a creator chat with Jason Nash, and that was something that was offered to people on the creator track only, and you would be in a room with a creator, and you would all sit around and just talk to that creator and I guess ask them questions and have them talk to you. So Lissa did that and she said it was great. The possibility of getting face-to-face time with someone who's successful on a platform is invaluable to someone who's trying to grow their channel or grow their following or grow their content or become a better content creator. It's kind of great. Con for the creator badge, like I said, you get your badge mailed to you with your wristband. You can skip the first day of VidCon. VidCon is 3 days long. On the schedule, it shows it from the 10th to the 14th. It actually goes from the 11th to the 13th. The first day is essentially an extra registration day with a thing at the end for like a concert type of thing. And then the final day is just a Disney day and you were able to get a discount for it. The discount for a creator badge was a whole $9 off. I'm glad I went to the first day of VidCon because I'm glad that I could get the experience for this video. I bumped into Elixir, who I also interviewed for my TanaCon documentary. We kind of hung around outside the expo hall for a bit because we were trying to see if they were going to let us in. No one knew that we weren't allowed in the expo hall that day. It was only vendors and industry people. That was not made clear. On the schedule, it showed that there was registration time starting, and I was really proud of myself because I got there literally right at the time of registration. Like I was one of the first few people allowed in, which was great. I was really excited about because I was like, cool, I get to go look at everything before everyone else gets here. Because the schedule was essentially blank for the whole of Wednesday, I just assumed that there were no panels or meet and greets happening that day, and instead it was kind of a day to just go and explore the expo hall. No, we weren't allowed inside. I didn't know that, so I got a sunburn because I apparently learned nothing from a year ago. If you get a creator badge and your badge is mailed to you, that first day is kind of unnecessary unless you want to come later in the day for some of the performances and things like that. Then by all means go at like 3:30 or something. Having a second day of registration spreads out the time, which makes the lines a little shorter. However, that should be made clear that you will not be allowed inside the expo hall. To be fair, they did open the bathrooms in the area, so you were allowed to go inside and hang out in the air conditioning, but it was way too hot, and by then it had already been like 2 hours and I already got a sunburn. Friday night, there was a creators only pool party at the Great Wolf Lodge. Because again, I'm apparently bad at reading emails. Lissa said, hey, I RSVP'd for the creator party. Do you want to be my +1? I was like, sure, let's go. They had buses that transported us from VidCon to the hotel, and then when you were ready to leave, the buses would take you back to VidCon. The thing about this, Lissa told me, and I later saw in the email, that it was a 16+ event, and then if you were 21 and up, alcohol was available. If I had known that there were going to be so many children attending, I wouldn't have gone. I am 21. I don't drink for a couple different reasons, none of which are anyone's business but my own, and I'm not saying that anyone was super hammered up or anything like that, but it made me really uncomfortable that there were a lot of legal adults drinking and then a bunch of children running around in the same capacity. And I'm not saying the hotel wasn't safe or anything like that. They had lifeguards up the ass, but it just made me uncomfortable and I was like ready to go fairly immediately. Also, the Great Wolf Lodge is one of those things where it's like, I've done it once, I don't need to go back. The party itself was okay. They did feed us free food, which was very nice, and they had free drinks and stuff. Overall, I was just like not having the best time. I did not have fun at the event itself. It was just I was getting nothing out of it by being a creator with VidCon at the Great Wolf Lodge pool party. Does that make sense? If I get the creator track again and they offer the pool party again, I will not be going. There were other people on the creator track that I had made friends with. They all went to the Vid Carnival thing and they had way more fun than we did. I will literally never do a VidCon creator pool party again because they had way more fun. Maybe you would want to go to a pool party. I didn't really have a good time. It was just so for me.
I explained this super weird, so let me make it abundantly clear. I don't really have a problem with people drinking. I'm not saying take the alcohol out of VidCon. And I'm not saying take the kids out of VidCon. All I'm saying is that maybe people under a certain age shouldn't be allowed to attend certain events at VidCon. That's it.
There's another creator only party and there's some tea attached to it, sort of. Now, I spent quite a bit on time at the expo hall talking to a lot of different people at the booth. Because of this series and because of how I am as a human being, when I'm at an event and I see a product and I don't know what it does or why it should be of use to me, I ask a lot of questions, which I don't think is a problem, and I try and always be as polite as possible. Sometimes I think I ask too many questions. There were multiple times during VidCon where I was asking one of the vendors questions and they clearly got tripped up by my questions because they would stop and go, you know who you should talk to? And then pull someone else over and be like, this is the CEO of the company. You should talk to them. They'll answer all your questions, and then walk away. So I probably overdid it a few times, but is anyone really surprised? At one of the booths, I saw someone who worked with Rode microphones. I have a Rode microphone. I saw that he was kind of checking out my setup because I had my full setup the entire time I was at VidCon. So I was like, okay, I've seen him. He knows I've seen him. It's weird if I just book it and walk away now. So I walked up and started talking to the guy, and he commented on my mic, and I asked him some questions, and I basically said, oh, I thought you guys had a Rode booth as well. And he's like, no, we did not get a booth. So from this Rode vendor at VidCon, I found out that Rode was one of the sponsors for VidCon, that they had no marketing whatsoever for Rode hung up anywhere. Plenty of other locations throughout VidCon where there were posters and banners hung up for other sponsors and other companies for the event. I didn't see any Rode banners, and also this Rode person said, yeah, there's nothing. They were not given a booth of their own despite being a sponsor, which to me, that's level 1 sponsorship if you sponsor an event. Supposedly what they did sponsor was a party, which is the creator party that I ended up going to. This party was on the creator floor. It was on the terrace / most of the floor itself. Again, keep in mind, there are children that have creator badges. There are plenty of underage, not adults, on the creator floor. There were alcohol stations set up pretty much all throughout the floor. They roped off the area that led to the terrace to go to the main part of the party where they had food and stuff. And at first I thought, oh, they must not be letting people that are underage back there. No, coming and going, no problem, which I thought was weird. There were no signs indicating that it was sponsored by Rode. The only way I knew about the party was originally talking to the Rode guy, and then later when I checked the schedule, I saw that there was a party and I was like, oh, that's what he was talking about. It was just really weirdly marketed on their part for their sponsorships. Again, there was just children around alcohol and it made me uncomfortable. I didn't stay long. At least at the terrace party, there was more opportunity to mingle and network. park. I really couldn't focus on that at all because I was really anxious and uncomfortable with the fact that there was children around alcohol. And that's my own personal gripe. Maybe no one else sees it an issue. And I'm not saying like, oh, anything nefarious happened. It just really made me uncomfortable. So in conclusion, for the creator badge, it really comes down to what you want to get out of your experience of VidCon. Do you want to grow your content and learn how to make better content and network with a lot of other people? VidCon creator badge might be for you. If you just want to meet people you're a fan of, you can feasibly do that with community and not have the extra charge added to it. You're still going to be spending too much money on food and parking and X, Y, and Z. You really don't need to get a creator badge. Oh yeah, I kind of glossed over this. I thought these were great because to get in and out of the event, they not only checked all of our bags, but we had to scan these. Once these go on, they do not come off. They tightened. They will not loosen. These things get very tight and very easily do they tighten. Lissa had to cut hers off and get another one because it was cutting off her circulation because it tightened while she was sleeping. It's good and bad because it's easy to not take this off and swap with people, which is a good for safety. And this isn't a creator badge thing. This is a VidCon thing. Pros and cons with the RFID bracelets. Overall, I think they're a good idea. However, I wish they were more difficult to tighten. Let's just say that. That's not even a VidCon thing. That's just a production thing. So yeah, that's basically it for the creator badge. Again, it really comes down to what you want out of your VidCon experience. For me, I got a lot out of it. In the future, I would like to potentially look into see if I could try and swindle my way into a full access or an invited guest type of thing, or even try and get an industry badge from someone or a press badge. Hi VidCon, if you see this, I'll try and be nice. The creator badge, again, it comes down to what you want out of your VidCon experience. I got a lot out of the creator badge and I would recommend it to someone. Again, pros and cons with everything. I did mention some tea. So again, part of the tea was the road people. Another thing that I heard, this may not be tea, it's just something that was a safety measure that I was like, there were ways around this. I found out from one of the vendors that I talked to very early on Thursday morning, started asking him a lot of questions, and he very openly was like, I'm sorry, you're tripping me up. I'm blanking. Give me a second. I've had no caffeine today. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I kind of rattled those off really quickly. That's my bad. Take your time. Like, no rush. It's fine. To fill the silence of him trying to like collect his thoughts or whatever, I was like, I know we weren't allowed in yesterday because it was vendors and industry only. Did you guys get to come in and set up earlier than that, or was it just yesterday? And he said, not only were we only allowed to get in yesterday, we had to sneak in to start setting up. And I'm like, what? So VidCon implemented some new security measures. If you wanted to bring a backpack to VidCon, it had to be a clear backpack. I went out and I bought myself a cheap ass clear backpack solely because I bring my camera gear with me. And also, if you've ever been to a convention whatsoever, you know you shouldn't just bring like a purse or something. It's just bad form. I knew that that was the criteria for attendees. This vendor that I was talking to said that they also had to follow those same rules. So a lot of their gear and the setups for their booths, all of their stuff had to come in clear backpacks and clear trash bags. Security would go through and check everything before they could get up to set up. This was one of the vendors on the creator floor. So I'm wondering if the aspect of them having to sneak in had to do with the fact that only vendors on the expo hall were able to go and set up, and that because they were on the creator floor, they had to sneak up to the creator floor to set up their booth on the creator floor. However, I don't know if that's true or not. VidCon, I just think there's better ways to handle security for your vendors than making them bring in all their gear and tech and set up for their booths in clear trash bags and clear bags and clear bins. I just feel like there's certain ways around that when you have the time to do that. I don't know how I would fix that problem. I just wanted to bring that up because I thought it was interesting. Not really tea, but something that I found quite interesting. I met a lot of great people, as I said. I also met some people that were not so great. And when I talk about that, I'm not saying that someone was outright mean to me or anything like that. Like, no one was blatantly horrible to me, and I want to make that abundantly clear. I did witness some very, very mean children. I have never been around so many children that weren't rude, but were just outright mean to other humans. It was very weird. And I'm not saying this goes for every child at VidCon. There were a lot of very nice children at VidCon. There was just also a very large number of very mean little children, and their parents seemed to just be ambivalent to it. It was very, very odd. Another thing happened that the moment it did happen, I immediately went on Instagram to talk about it because it was so weird. I needed to document it and make sure other people knew about it. Saturday night, after me and Lissa left the party, she had parked in the far parking lot, and she had mentioned earlier that when she'd gone to put her camera in the car before the party, that there were some guys hanging around her car. I was like, you're not walking back to your car by yourself. That's not happening. After to her car, and then as I started walking back through the parking structure to get to the elevator, a family got out of the elevator as I was going to get on it. The mother and daughter were straight up having a full-on argument over whose channel they were vlogging for in that moment. This mother was a grown adult woman. The child was 8 or 9, and the father and son just kept chiming in of like, we already filmed you for your channel. It's her turn. You already got your turn. Back and forth. It was really, really weird and just something that I never expected to experience ever in my life. I met a lot of great people. I also met a lot of not so great people. And again, no one was outright mean to me, but there were a lot of people that I met that seemed to have complexes when there didn't need to be a complex. When I say that certain people weren't humble, it's an over-exaggeration because that would imply that there was something to be humble about. I'm not trying to take a dig on anyone's following or anyone's content or anything like that. I'm talking about people who walked up and were just going full big dick energy and throwing it around, being very I'm better than you about certain things, and then come to find out that they had like 16 subscribers and stuff like that.
I talked about two different guys in this section and I decided to cut it out because when I initially filmed, I gave away way too much information about these guys. So in an effort to not be a dick, I'll just summarize. One dude, if you were vlogging around him, he would walk up and say that he was going to copyright claim your video because he had his face copyrighted. I'm not an expert on copyright law, but I'm fairly certain you can't do that. Was talking a big game, then I later found his channel and he had like 16 subscribers. Another instance was I was in the middle of a conversation with a guy and he straight up asked me what my subscriber count was, and when I told him I had a little over 5,000, he said, "Oh, that's cute," and then wouldn't tell me what his subscriber count was, which I thought was weird. Later when I found his channel, I saw that he had like low 30s, which is adorable. I'm kidding. I don't know, it was just weird. These instances aren't really big deals. I just thought they were weird and I wanted to talk about it a little bit.
This might make me sound like an asshole, but I want to make it abundantly clear. I have no problems with small creators that have like less than 100, less than 50, less than 10 subscribers or following at VidCon. We're all there to learn. We all want to grow our content. We all want to do better. There's nothing wrong with that. I met plenty of people who had small followings that I had great conversations with and I made great connections with. I only have about 5,000 subscribers. In the grand scheme of YouTube, that's fucking nothing. I would never walk into a conversation giving off the vibe that I thought I was better than someone because of my subscriber count, because it's fucking nothing. And also, that's a dick move. Just be a nice person, you know? We're all there to learn. We all want to make content we're proud of, and there's nothing wrong with that, and I think we just all need to be nice to each other. Unless you're an asshole. That's that. That's it for this video, but I wanted to take the time to say thank you to everyone who came up to me and said that you liked my videos at VidCon. I know there are some people that watch my videos, and regardless of whether or not that number fluctuates, I'm always very thankful when someone watches my video because I put a lot of effort into them, and I'm very proud of the content that I create. However, there's something very different about seeing numbers on a screen and then someone actually coming up to you and saying that they like your videos. And I'm very thankful for all of you that came up and said that you guys saw my TanaCon videos or that you watched my other videos or that you were excited to find out what I was filming for VidCon. You guys were just all very great, and I'm sorry if I was awkward. I know I made a lot of things awkward. Shout out to Jade and Andrea. Jade, you kept asking for photos. I don't know why, but you were very sweet. Thank you. Andrea, I'm sorry if I was very awkward. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what to do. But thank you again to everyone that came up and said hi, and thank you to everyone who just made my VidCon experience really great, especially Lissa. 100% certain that 80% of the reason that I had a great time at VidCon was because I got to hang out with Lissa the entire time, because we got to go and do a lot of stuff together, and that was really great. So again, I'm gonna link her channel down below. You guys should go check her out. It was great. And that's really it. Did you go to VidCon? Did you have fun at VidCon? Did you see me at VidCon? Did you not see me at VidCon? Let me know in the comments section. I'll probably end up going to VidCon again next year. I'll try and see if I can get a different badge or not, but worst case scenario, I'll probably just end up getting creator again, because again, it really was beneficial for me. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Shout out to Sarah and Aaron. Thank you so much for supporting me on my Patreon. If you'd also like to support me on my Patreon, it'll be linked down below. Follow me on all my social media. I'll put that all up here. That's it. This isn't tea, which is why I didn't include it in the tea section. My brother does TikTok. He also went to VidCon. He has quite a decent sized following on TikTok. What the Almost every single TikTok guy looks the exact same. It's very weird. Like, if you were to take the TikTok template, my brother fits it. I thought I saw my brother 35 times before he had even gotten to the convention. That's how many of these TikTok guys look the same. It's really weird, and it was freaking me out.